Good morning, everyone. Please join in our gathering hymn, All Beautiful the March of Days. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to worship at First Unitarian Church in Portland, Oregon. Our mission is to nurture the individual spirit and together to work towards the beloved community. After the service, you're invited to a social hour with fellow congregants. You will see a QR code, and you can follow that to get you to the Zoom link. We are in a new year, and I'd like to point you towards some special things happening this month in our congregation. You'll find the details of all these in our weekly e-news and at the church website. Next Saturday, January the 9th, Katie Raditz will lead a day of mindfulness retreat. Come and replenish your spirit with the goal of more harmony in your life as this new year begins. On January the 21st, the day after the inauguration of a new president in Washington, join us for what is being called the People's Inaugural. After years of injustice and division, this will be a time of collective renewal and healing, a space to create a moral vision for the America we are capable of becoming. And at the end of this month, on January the 30th, join us for our annual Seminary for a Day. This year, we will welcome the Reverend Meg Riley, who recently retired as the senior minister of the Church of the Larger Fellowship, and who now serves as one of the moderators of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Meg will talk about how we as a denomination can live out our aspiration to become a more welcoming community. She will explore our relative success in welcoming members of the LGBTQ community in recent decades and what lessons we might take from that work in our building towards the beloved community. Once again, welcome everyone. Reverend Bill will light the chalice on our chancel this morning, and I invite you to light a chalice or a candle at home if you have one now. We are Unitarian Universalists. We
light
light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love.
The presence of our love is here. The presence of our love is here. I feel it in the atmosphere. The presence of our love is here. Oh, the presence of our love is here.
The spirit of our love is here. The spirit of our love is here. I feel it in the atmosphere. The spirit of our love is here. Oh, the spirit of our love is here.
The power of our love is here. The power of our love is here. I feel it in the atmosphere. The power of our love is here. Oh, the power of our love is here.
The
As we gather, we are so ready for this to be a new year. We survived the last year. May we thrive in the next. So much was lost in the last. May this be a year for some finding. Even as we struggle, even as we grieve, we can glimpse hope shimmering in the distance, waiting for us to bring it into focus. May we be present to what that hope will require of us. The presence of love is here to comfort us and to guide us, and if we are willing, to shape us. There are blessings to receive and blessings we can bestow as we move forward into this new year, as we move forward toward hope. Come now, and let us worship together. I invite you now to join in our hymn, Come Down, O Love Divine. Please join now in our responsive reading. It's entitled, What is Praised is One, by Rumi. What is praised is one, so the praise is one too, many jugs being poured into a huge basin. All religions, all this singing, one song. The differences are just illusion and vanity. Sunlight looks slightly different on this wall than it does on that wall, and a lot different on this other one, but it is still one light. We have borrowed these clothes, these time and space personalities from a light, and when we praise, we pour them back in. Let's join now in singing our doxology, Spirit of Life.
It is our custom here at First Unitarian to share our offering each month with a community organization in concert with our own church mission. For this month of January, we're sharing our plate with the Black Resilience Fund. Started in response to the unjust murder of George Floyd, the fund works with Portlanders from all backgrounds to make an immediate difference in the lives of our Black neighbors and to advocate for systemic change. To date, the fund has received over 10,000 requests for financial relief and has raised over $2 million to ensure each applicant gets real and tangible support. The Black Resilience Fund is a project of the Portland not-for-profit Brown Hope. You can give through the QR code that will appear or use the Donate Now button on Boxcast. Thank you for your generosity that sustains the ministry of this congregation and our partners in the larger community. We'll now gratefully receive our offering. We make a space each week in our service to hold up the concerns of our community life together. A reminder that you can send concerns for parish concerns to be named here from the pulpit to parishconcerns@firstunitarianportland.org. And if you have a prayer request you'd like to be held by our ministers and our lay ministers, send those to prayer@firstunitarianportland.org. The Reverend T. Allen Bethel, who served as pastor of Maranatha Church in Northeast Portland for 26 years and who was co-chair of the Albina Ministerial Alliance, died on December 21st at the age of 67. Dr. Bethel poured his life into service to civil rights and to racial justice. Our prayers and condolences are with Dr. Bethel's family and with the Maranatha Church community. COHO, our congregation's Committee on Hunger and Homelessness, is sad to announce the death of a man named Louis, who lived in a tent on 13th Avenue across the street from our church. Louis died just a few days before Christmas, and his friends who lived near him are very much saddened by his death. Please hold Louis and the community grieving his death in your thoughts and in our prayers. And this morning we recognize all those living on our streets and the daily peril they face. Finally, this morning, a joy. Shane and Azad Abbasi Ruby, who are joining as members of our church this month, have been matched with an 11-year-old child in their adoption process. They hope to bring their daughter home to Portland soon, and we celebrate with their whole family this morning. Will you pray with me now? Spirit of life and of love, God of many names and no name, be with us in this new year. We are ready for a new beginning, Spirit. We are tired of so much loss in this time of pandemic, in this time of disruption. We're tired of isolation. We're tired of injustice in its many forms. Be with us as we imagine a turning, as we imagine possibility before us. May it be a time of healing. May it be a time of change. And point us, Spirit, in the direction of hope. And even in the midst of that turning, help us to notice the lessons to be learned in this time, the importance of relationships and communities in our lives, how some have been impacted so much more than others. And even as we recognize the divisions we face, help us to see those places of unity too. Help us to see in our lives the lives of others. Help us as we claim our part in the healing of our world. We pray for our country this morning, for our very democracy. May we do our part to build the common good. And in this new year, help us as we strive to make love real on this day and in all the days ahead. Amen. Let's take a few moments now and be together in silence. Let's sing together now, Spirit of the Living God. Our reading today comes from poet David White. Sometimes. Sometimes, if you move carefully through the forest, breathing like the ones in the old stories who could cross a shimmering bed of dry leaves without a sound, you come to a place whose only task is to trouble you with tiny but frightening requests conceived out of nowhere, but in this place beginning to lead everywhere. Requests to stop what you are doing right now and to stop what you are becoming while you do it. Questions that can make or unmake a life. Questions that have patiently waited for you. Questions that have no right to go away.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? If you look around, the whole world's coming together now. Babe, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Feel it in the air. The wind is taking it everywhere. Yeah. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? All the colors of the world should be loving each other wholeheartedly. Yes, it's alright. Take my message to your brother and tell it twice.
Spread the word and try to teach the man who's hating his brother when he won't do. 'Cause we're all the same. Yes, the blood inside of me is inside of you. Now tell me,
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
now tell me,
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
yeah. Oh.
Every breath you take is someone's death in another place. Every healthy smile is hunger and strife to another child. But the stars do shine and promising salvation near this time. Can you feel it now? So brothers and sisters, sure we know how.
Now tell me,
Can you feel it? 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 All the children of the world should be loving each other wholeheartedly. Yes, it's alright. Take my message to your sister and tell it twice.
Can you feel it? The Spirit? Did you sense a presence moving? An energy that is yours, but not yours alone? Have you felt that quality of presence before? Do you come here to search for it? Have you been that presence for others? Can you feel it? We are so happy to put the last year behind us. But what quality of presence are we called to embody in this new year? Presence is our spiritual theme for January, and presence can mean many things. We talk of being present to another person or an event in the world, or even being present to ourselves. This is about bringing our presence and attention, about a more intense focus we can bring to the present moment. There's a different meaning for presence in theology. There, the word points not to the attention that we can bring, but to a presence that is other, or at least partially other. Spirit of life, come unto me, be present to us. Some of us think of a heightened human awareness. Some of us speak of the Spirit of God. There is, in all of those meanings, the moving beyond the ordinary self, the self that gets us through the day. There's a connection to values and virtues that are held within us, but also beyond us. And there's a tethering, a connection to something larger, something to which we are present, or something that is present to us. Poet William Wordsworth described it this way: "And I have felt a presence that disturbs me with the joy of elevated thoughts, a sense sublime of something far more deeply interfused, a motion and a spirit that rolls through all things." Something far more deeply interfused. Can you feel it? Whether we experience that presence in the measured meter of Wordsworth's poetry, in the listening and laughter and tears of pastoral presence, in the cloud of witnesses we invoke in our public work for justice, or in song and the energy of gospel rhythms, there is an otherness, an almost mystical quality when we speak of presence in the religious sense. And it is not comfortable for all of us to acknowledge. I am certain that some of us may be squirming even now. I know. But the acknowledgement that there is something beyond individual consciousness, that human possibility is not confined to a linear world of algebra in which we can always solve for x, can always explain the mystery, even if the most we can say is that there is a power of human possibility that is yet to be realized fully. Well, wrestling with that presence is profoundly spiritual work. Author Brian Doyle recounts his own experience. "I sat at the end of my bed at 3 a.m, in tears, furious, frightened, as drained and hopeless as I have ever been in this bruised and blessed world, at the very end of my rope. And she spoke to me. I know it was her, the mother. 'Let it go,' she said. The words were clear, unambiguous, unadorned. Let it go. She knew how close I was to utter despair, and she reached for me, and she cupped me in her hand and spoke into the me of me, and I will never forget her voice till the day I die. She spoke into the me of me, a presence so other and so intimate. We don't talk easily about such experience. Doyle told no one for over a year until two friends independently told him that they had been spoken to in hours of great need. Some of you will remember that I've shared before from this pulpit my own experience of being held and assured somehow that things would be all right in the morning, though the night might be long. What I didn't share with you is the number of people who later told me of their feeling such a presence, of being visited. And that language is not right, or not completely right, because the stories that were shared with me were so varied. Perhaps the presence, whatever it may be, is shaped out of our own mind to fit narratives we have been taught or told. For Doyle, it was the Catholic mother. For me, simply hands holding me. Doris Grumbach, in her book, The Presence of Absence, describes her experience. I was filled, she writes, with a unique feeling of peace, an impression so intense that it seemed to expand into ineffable joy, a huge delight. It seemed to fill my entire body. She knew it as the presence of God, though she describes herself as a Marxist with an opiate of the people opinion about religion. It never happened again for her. But something changed for her, as it did for Doyle. Though the details of his life did not change, I'm quoting again, it changed everything. Something broke and something healed. Something so deep and joyous that I cannot find words for it, hard as I try. A presence. Something so deep and joyous. Now, I have not given up rationalism. I still study history and psychology and economics, but I have come to know that similar experiences are real for many of us, part of what William James called the varieties of religious experience that the community of the church is called to hold. And if our goal in this church community is to welcome real lived experience, to create and sustain a spiritual community where we don't have to check any part of ourselves at the door, a community whose hallmark is a quest for wholeness, accountable wholeness, then we need to make a place for these experiences just as much as we make space for intellectual engagement, and just as much as we feel the Spirit when we sing or pray together, and just as much as we celebrate with every movement toward equity and justice. In fact, I want to try to describe to you how I am increasingly seeing all of those varieties of religious experience as part of a whole, related, interconnected, deeply interfused, bound together and binding us together in this business of trying to live a faithful and an honest and a joyful life. And some of this, for me, is not yet in focus. Some of it I can only glimpse. But as this new year begins, I ask you to bear with me as I try. This new year begins with some light at the end of the tunnel, with the vaccines, with the new administration in Washington. But that, for me, just heightens the need to know as deeply as we can how we want to live when this forced time out draws to a close and we begin to return not to normal, but to a new post-COVID creation. So bear with me. We have seen one approach to living taken to its tragic conclusion, seen it in the public square. This is the approach of selfishness, of centering self above all else, of using others, of greed, and of an unfillable emptiness. We have seen what that looks like and watched what that can cause. It has been embodied in a president, but that way of being has been around for a long time. It is deeply a part of the DNA of this nation. Not the totality of our DNA, thankfully, but it is there in us. Make no mistake. But we know what lies at the end of that path, and it is not the promised land. It is emptiness that cannot be filled. Truth be told, we would pity those who follow that path if their actions did not harm so many of us. I need to be clear, I am not writing off the value of understanding how things work, nor of our skill at making them work for our benefit. But that manipulation, without a corresponding depth of gratitude and accountability to creation and to our neighbors, that leads to the abuse we have seen exemplified these last 4 years. Now there is another path, other paths with different relationships to creation and to the spirit of life, to that presence within us and beyond us. UU minister Scotty McLennan was the longtime chaplain on the Stanford campus. He is, among other things, the inspiration for the Doonesbury comic strip character, the Reverend Scott Sloan, for those of you who are Doonesbury aficionados. Scotty noted that as he moved away from his childhood's religious creeds, God became an impersonal force or energy in the universe to him. He then even cites the Wordsworth passage, something far more deeply interfused to describe it. But he understood himself to be a rationalist. So even when he began praying to God again, which he did, the God he knew was an impersonal life force. And so, Scotty writes, I lived in paradox, recognizing the presence of the Spirit of life, but not having any way to know for certain what that Spirit was. Now, not knowing does not need to leave us stuck, because our knowing, our certainty, and our control are not the ultimate point. Creation, it turns out, is not all about us. Michael Himes, a former professor at Boston College, reminds us that God is not anyone's name. There is not some person out there someplace much older, much wiser, much more powerful than you or I, whose name is God. God, he writes, is the name of the mystery that lies at the root of all that exists. And never forget, he goes on, that we are talking about mystery, since our temptation is to natter on as though we know what we're talking about. I love that attitude in this very Catholic priest, because we don't know for certain The mystery remains mystery. But there are things that we do know. Himes tells the story of Father Zosima in the Brothers Karamazov. The father is counseling a woman who had ceased to believe in God. Now everything is colorless, tasteless, she tells the monk. Nothing feels real save the weeds that grow on my grave. Zosima tells her that what she is experiencing is the worst thing that can happen to a human being, and that he thinks he can help her. She must go home, and every day, without fail, in the most concrete and practical way possible, she must love the people around her. If she does that, Zosima says, then bit by bit, she will come to the point at which she cannot but believe in God. This way, he says, this way has been tried. This way is certain. Professor Himes concludes, the only workable proof for the presence of God is an experience. And that experience arises out of the daily, concrete, and practical love for those around us. In the interfaith world, many people are impressed with Unitarian Universalist commitment to social justice, our practice of making love real by the living of our lives, to use language you hear often from this pulpit. For our faith, direct engagement and support for justice making and for service, the living into our vision of beloved community, is crucial for our spiritual development. Not incidental, not a nice addition. It's crucial. It is the process, and we have many ways that we embody it, of liberating ourselves and locating ourselves on a path that leads to hope, not emptiness. As Howard Thurman wrote, the mystic's concern with the imperative for social action is not merely to relieve human suffering. If this were all, in and of itself, it would be important, surely, but the basic consideration has to do with the removal of all that prevents God from coming to fullness in the life of the individual. Whatever there is that blocks this calls for intervention. The removal of all that prevents God from coming to fullness in our lives. Now, Thurman's language no doubt requires some translation for some of us. So try this. Whatever blocks that presence which brings both peace and joy to your life and to all of the other lives around you, whatever blocks that presence from coming to fullness must be dismantled. We have been blocking too much of human potential. Too much creativity and competence has been shut down. Too much beauty and talent has been denied. Far too many of us have had the spirit of life stunted and stymied, the breath pressed out of us. And despite that truth, all of that truth, there is good news here. Because all we have to do is to stop blocking the talent and that presence that is waiting to emerge within us. Stop pressing the breath out of so many, out of all of us, really. That's all we have to do. What I am seeing, what I am sensing, is that the work of dismantling is where we must bring our presence first. That is where we will discover the spirit of life waiting to deepen our lives, where we will discover a wholeness and a joy. We are being called, I believe, to embody the hope we believe can be real by removing everything that stands in its path. We need to ground ourselves as deeply as possible, because there will be a pull to just return, to take the path of least resistance, to build back what we knew. And we need to develop the spiritual muscle, a spiritual practice sufficiently strong to resist that pull. But what I am sensing, if we do this, is that it will not feel like resisting a pull. The work of unblocking our lives will not feel like working against the Spirit. It will, I am coming to believe, feel like freedom. I think it will. Because whether it is the work or our vision or the Spirit of life joining with us or all three, we will be lifted up. We will be held up as we liberate ourselves. It will feel, I think, like transcendence, moving beyond what we have known toward a quality of wholeness that might just justify the language of beloved community, might just make the language live for us and make that language live in us. At least that is what I glimpse. And that is what I am willing to put my faith in. We need to be liberated out of those habits and those assumptions that have held us down. Liberated out of our fear of each other. Liberated out of our fear of our own power. The way we were willing to live will not do. It just won't do. We need to inaugurate something far better. And what I am glimpsing, what I am sensing, is that is where the Spirit of life will join us, will be present to us. Can you feel it? Something more deeply interfused, something waiting to be born that will flow through all things, something that calls us to finally begin living as we want to live, and creating a world in which that is not only a possible future, but a world in which that becomes so normal that it is the only possible future. Can you feel it? Perhaps the question is, can we live it? Will you pray with me now? Spirit of life and of love, come unto us, each one of us. Sing in our hearts all the stirrings of compassion. May we feel those stirrings of compassion for all who suffer, but also compassion for ourselves. Not compassion that would justify our privilege, but a love for ourselves and for the world that calls us to be present to both the suffering and the celebration, present to as much as we can hold, and present too to those stirrings that move quietly through all things, those stirrings that bring questions the world has taught us have to wait. Presence that we call by many names. Great Spirit that again and again asks us how we want to live. Be with us in this new year. Your questions have been waiting for our readiness to answer. May this new year be the time when we will discover that our answers can open paths not toward greater ease, but toward deeper meaning and the possibility of deeper joy that can open paths that will justify a deeper hope. May that be so. And amen. Please join in singing our final hymn, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time. As this new year unfolds, the path we must travel will not be smooth. There will be switchbacks and setbacks, there is no doubt. Remember that we are not the first to suffer, nor the first to struggle, nor the first to question whether our hopes can be real. We are the descendants of survivors who made a way out of no way, and it is our turn now. May we stay present to ourselves and to one another as we move forward, and may we welcome that presence, something far more deeply interfused, something deep, something joyous, moving within us and among us, holding us up as we search for hope. This is the new year we have been given. Let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace, practice love. Amen.